We're on site with our builder Sam Smith. Money on my mind. Nice place. Apparently refurbished 7 years ago or so. And a lot of it's being ripped out now. But let's get to the business then. This is the bit we're interested in. This is our first time on site today. Unmarked Proteus boards, don't know who put them in. So I don't know if we've got some builder specials here or if it's done by a proper spa here. As usual, things I don't like. 63 amp RCDs with an awful lot of circuits coming off them, taped over, presumably open blanked ways. Oh, is that a flex in there? That's an awful lot of circuits going through a 63 amp RCD, isn't it? So we'll have to do some testing, see what's going on, make sure they're serviceable. I've got another little board up here with circuits marked. Sprinklers. That's interesting. I don't think it's fire suppression. I think that's probably lawn sprinklers. I need to find where the intake is. I think it's going to be behind all this lot down here. And we're going to go and do some testing before we start pulling things apart. Well, okay, that's not our intake position then. That's the underfloor heating system. Looks like a plumber's wiring there. And we've got our plastic incoming water service. So I still don't know where the intake is. There actually blows next to the aircon. Let's get our long key out and take a peek in here. Okay. Looks alright. PME, quite modern, smart meter, even the joys of an isolator. In fact, that smart meter's only just gone in. 1st of March 19. Not that long ago. Alright, here's an interesting one. We've got truss joists, Nigel.
We have.
And we've got, do you want to expose our surprise under there where Sam's got his tape measure stuck? We've got a wet system underfloor heating. And stuck tape measure.
And I've just noticed we've got the trusses.
That could be a problem, couldn't it? Now, lad, this bathroom's better than mine and you're ripping it out.
I don't like it.
Don't you?
No, I don't. I think if it's walled, fully walled, you know, the tiles all there.
Mad, isn't it? You want to stick that in? And I'll in your suitable receptacle. I'll go and cut the power to first floor sockets, yeah. And then we can check what's going on with these lot.
Okay, I'll give you a shout.
Right. Yeah. Cheers! That's what we're working on. I think we'll get into this board and start doing some tests on that circuit before we start any work on it. Obviously the builders have already started knocking down walls that have the sockets on there. Hopefully they haven't disturbed anything too much. Yeah, I got it. You know what? That doesn't actually look like a builder's breakfast. So despite the lack of a proper label on the board to say who did it, this could actually be the work of an actual electrician. There is an armoured cable floating around there, but at least they've gone to the effort of putting a earth nut on there and earthing the SWA.
Oh,
What do you reckon?
well, that's not badly done, is it?
However,
You've done that while I've been upstairs. Very neat.
see the thermal damage under the RCD?
Yes.
You've actually got bits coming out the bottom of this, haven't you? It's yeah, bits of plastic there. It's all looking a bit cruddy and nasty. And again, it's like that one we looked at in Stratford, isn't it? It's another 63 amp RCD that's just got too much hanging off it. Hopefully, I've got everything except the kitchen sockets switched off. Yeah, there we go. We wouldn't ordinarily start with an RCD test, would we, Nigel? But before we do anything else, because that RCD looks a bit frazzled, I think I just want to make sure that it's okay. And I don't want to push the test button at this stage. I want to know if there's a earth fault, is it going to work? And to hell with the test button, we'll see if that works later on. So I've got it on auto test on the old Metrel MI3100S. Let's kick it off and see what happens. No, failed. There you go. RCD is toast. And just like that one in Stratford that we looked at back in around March, April, too much demand on something that's not designed for that kind of current. So already we have a problem here. We'll have to put in a new RCD rated at a higher value. I imagine the test button, oh, it does work. You know what, let's try that again, just to see if that's loosened it up. Obviously it still needs replacing. Even if it works now, it goes to show you can't rely on it. That fridge is making a funny noise, isn't it? Your beer is defrosting. Yeah, it's tripped, 30.9, so, but the only reason that's worked this time is because we've mechanically sort of released it. If we leave that in there, it's just going to get sticky again. So fuck it. Right. My glamour arsehole assistant has the Metrel here. And you know what, I'm gonna revise my previous on-camera claim that this was done by a proper electrician, because what we got here, I thought these were flexes at first, they're actually the inner cores of SWA cables, and you can see that they've chopped off the armour. So I don't know what they're supposed to be for, but how you're going to earth the armour to wherever they're going.
Yeah, if you don't terminate it, right?
Fucking hell, when the fucking phone's ringing. Suspected spam.
Oh, I do like spam.
Are you?
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, this is Jess from Phone's House Company. It's a promotional call regarding mobile phone contract. So, can you confirm me which mobile phone you are using right now?
No, why don't you fuck off?
Sorry?
Fuck off,
Check.
you twat. Gosh, she's hung up on me.
I couldn't understand the words she was saying. I would have responded, but I just didn't know what she'd said.
Right, we're doing our ring and twins here to see if this socket circuit is okay before we modify it. So we're on the line. Oh, good God. It's not Friday, is it, Nigel? It's normally Friday where we have our...
Friday or Tuesday?
Yeah, it's Wednesday today. So
Wednesday.
it's not supposed to be a day where everything goes wrong, but well, there you have it. It would seem that we have a ring break.
No one likes a broken ring, David.
Certainly don't. And yeah, that's consistently crap. So already, before we start, we found that we've got a melted RCD and we've got no ring continuity. It might be down, the ring continuity might be down to what the builders are doing upstairs. We've already started knocking down walls that have got
yeah, well, we'll have to check it out.
But yeah, we've got loads of work to do here. We've got to move sockets, we've got to decommission sockets, we've got to add sockets. So we'll go and make a start and see if we can find where the break is as we start pulling stuff apart.
Yeah.
But otherwise, we may end up having to trace all this and to break it down into two separate 20 amp radii or something like that. Well, there's no fucking spare space in the board, is there? Might have to run them both off the same breaker, because it is what it is. In fact, even that, let's just zoom in a bit, even that buzz bar there looks a bit shonky, doesn't it, the way they've extended that?
Yes, Yeah,
I don't think it's not safe, but it's just not. It's just not the real boy, Nigel.
it's not.
Unlike our good selves. Let's get the fuck on with it. Long screws on this one. No. As you know, we're peering behind the sockets here, and
They all look good.
they do.
I mean, they look brand new, like they've just been put in. Effectively, yeah.
Weird, isn't it? We're not finding where these brakes are, so far.
Yeah, all the wiring looks well wired. Looks like it was just put in, just.
Weird. It's a shame, isn't it? Perfectly nice bathroom. It was. I like how these builders like classic FM instead of Radio fucking 2 with Jeremy Vile.
I don't know which is worse.
I thought you appreciated acoustic music, you snob.
Oh, I don't mind a bit of
not a guitar.
I don't mind a bit of classical, but it's missing drums and bass.
Top floor. This floor is also being revamped. So these are on their own circuit. So this is another circuit before we'll have to test before we start checking out, because there's stuff here to remove, stuff here to relocate.
Yeah, it's all live.
Stanley, sorry if the sound's a bit shonky. I'm on the internal camera microphone because my very expensive wireless microphones aren't working. This is all coming out. Double socket to go in there. Not next to the loo because the loo will be gone. And another nice bath to disappear. Don't know how we're going to feed that twin socket. There's underfloor heating everywhere. In fact, we've even got a layout plan showing the loops. It's a wet system. It's all over the place. Floors are chipboard.
Is the upstairs manifold? I was looking for a riser. Have you got your torch, mate? Just interesting to have a look.
Fucking hell, Martian. I can see your bloody breakfast again.
Well, I ain't got my bout on again, and you're the one bleeding looking at it,
It's just
pointing that camera at
every
it.
time you fucking bend down, all the air gets sucked out of the room. We'll just open this up because we want to ideally just sort of stick a Vargo box on that and lose it, but this floor just gets madder and madder. So we've got chipboard on top of underfloor heating pipes, and you open this up and there's another layer down there, something else down there.
Another layer of chipboard.
So I don't know what we're going to do with that. We're not going to fit a box.
Mad
in
out. Mad.
The only thing I can think of is if we open it up further and fit a Hager J503.
Yeah.
Because that's a slimmer box, but it's wider. We're going to have to make a bigger hole in the board to get that in. But I might have to go and buy some as well. I don't know how many I've got left on the van. I've never seen construction like this before, though.
No, it's a lot of chipboard.
Shitload of chipboard. What do you call a collection of chipboard, Nigel? Is it a wanker of chipboard?
A counterboard.
So Nigel's terminated this Hager it's a J804 actually, because it's got 4 terminals rather than the J803. Good bit of kit this. It's maintenance free. It does it with the screw there, so we can shove it under the floor afterwards. And because they're push fit connectors, it's not going to come loose or anything like that. We've got 4 cable entry points. We brought our cables in on one side, but we could easily have had a cable just going across that we've sort of spliced into, and that would allow us to potentially take up to 2 spur points off from there. So yeah, not a bad bit of kit that, and we're going to stick that into the floor and forget it was ever there. So this switch off and these lives have all just popped out and the earths are popping out. So again, it's not it's all overloaded. Look how loose that is. That's another one that just popped out. Again, work of a quality installer, is it, Martian?
No, certainly isn't, David.
Makes us smoke, does it not?
It does.
Are you smoke?
I'm extremely smoke.
Give me some hand.
Safety shorts.
Yeah, got your PPE on there.
What's that?
You certainly know how to use your massive tools.
They wanted these tools. This
What a waste. At these fucking cheap boxes. If it ain't Applebee, it ain't going in.
No, they're not good.
Red City Electrical Factors. For some more Hager J803s. No customer service is there, Nige?
No.
Fucking hide out in the back there. Don't come out to the counter.
No.
Leave us standing here with our cocks in our hands. You can't see my hands at the moment, but I can assure you my cock is in it.
Oh, jeez.
So we just bought a Greg's latte and you're on the hot chocolate from
A
CEF.
large latte in the van and a
Yeah, that looks tempting, mate.
CEF hot chocolate.
We've got a box of Hager J803s, so any more of those awkward junctions we need to do, we can do. Pick up a couple of Wago boxes or Vargo boxes.
804s for lighting possibilities. Or...
No, I don't tend to use them much. I'll get them if I need them. Let's go and get our rods back. Nige, the twat, left our rods on the site miles away from anywhere.
Yes.
Sam's got his tape measure stuck 210 centimetres that way. Like Excalibur, whoever can release it from the floor becomes king of the site. One junction is gone into the Ashley box. The other one, that's not so bad. That's more space under there, so I've used a Vargo box and some Vargos. We've still got plenty on the plan to be getting on with. So I suppose we're going to start knocking holes in the walls. I'm about to go and start on this lighting actually now, because over here that's got to be relocated. And this wall's been demolished, so that's got to go.
Where's this been relocated to? Round the corner?
Yeah, because that's going... Tell you what we've got to do, we've got to get rid of that shaver socket, because there's a doorway going there. So let's have that decommissioned. We can't damage the ceiling in the bathroom either, it'll have to be done from this side.
Can't damage the ceiling?
No, it'll have to be done from this side. That light switch, the white plastic light switch, is going to go where the doorway is going to be cut in, which is where the thermostat is. So we'll start doing that, shall we? Crikey, must tidy this van up. Here's a fascinating fact about brown sleeving. Doesn't matter how much you cut off and stick in your toolbox, you can never find the goddamn stuff when you need it. Right, that should last me a little while. Okay folks, let's move on with a little bit of a chat about what's going on here. I haven't filmed myself doing ZE, PFC, PSCC. I've got another video that we started with Sam on another site. I've got over 2 hours of footage so far where I did all that, and I haven't got around to editing it down yet, and nor do I know if I ever will do, but hopefully that'll go up one day. So rather than repeat what I shot a few weeks ago, even though I haven't uploaded it yet, I won't show that today. But a couple of things to point out. We have managed to get hold of a 20 amp breaker, not quite the same type, but it's still a Proteus and it fits okay. So we're going to power up that circuit again once we finish modifying it, even though we have problems end to end with continuity. We haven't been able to get around all the sockets to see if we can find a fault, and it's a funny one because obviously the wiring is quite new here. It doesn't look like it's been modified, and certainly you can't get under the floors to make many modifications, so a bit strange that there should be a ring break. There's Nigel walked into one room, knocked first and walked in, and there's some teenager still lying in his pit, and he still hasn't come out. It's 2:30 now, so we can't get into all the rooms to have a look behind all the sockets and to have a look around and see if we can find why that isn't a ring, or maybe it was always designed as 2 radials. I really don't know. Obviously I don't know the history of the place, but we've dropped it down to 20 amp so that when we power it back up, it's not going to have any overload risk. We've also been to CEF and ordered in 2 new 100 amp RCDs. They don't have them on the shelf, but they are going to get them in for us. So we'll be able to change those out next week. And I was talking with the homeowner who says he wants a electric vehicle charging point. One of these, well, both of these armoured, these SWAs, go outside the front of the house where they just come out, and I don't know why there's 2 of them. Obviously one of them could be used for vehicle charging. Actually, what size are they? They look a bit weedy for that, don't they? They're 2.5 mil. Oh. I think they're 2.5 mil. Hard to tell. I'll have a closer look at that. But I was saying to him, you're not going to run a bloody 32 amp to 40 amp whatever Tesla charger off these boards. We're just not going to stick another, or whoever does it, we would hope, isn't going to stick another MCB off these boards. And also the armour for the SWA, as we mentioned before, has been chopped back and not earthed. I was saying to him the best bet is probably to move this fuse for the intruder alarm, just move that around out the way. Could open the wall here so that because the SWAs are coming up the wall, and then we can, oh, that's an interesting action. SWAs are coming up the wall, so we can then perhaps terminate them properly onto a metal enclosure sunk into the wall. And then that could, if that was fed straight directly from the tails, you wouldn't be going through these RCDs, you wouldn't be adding to the load on these. It would be on its own, and it could have a type A or type B earth leakage device, because obviously these are type AC and not really any good for vehicle charging anyway. Whether that blows the maximum demand of the place, I don't know. I was just looking at that, and although we've got a lot of circuits, there's no electric showers here, at least. I think it's just a lot of unnecessarily high-powered circuits. I mean, lounge ring, for example, 32 amp. You know, a 16 amp circuit, 16 amp radio would have sufficed for that, I'm sure. Second floor ring, same again. So although these are, and all the lighting's 10 amp, even though it's LEDs everywhere. So I think even though we've got some quite highly rated breakers here, and there are a lot of them, then I think, you know, the demand isn't necessarily over the top, but we could do with taking some actual measurements of that and having a closer look at that as part of our work. Not that we're adding to anything, we're just here moving sockets and switches around really, and not doing a lot else. But if they're talking about adding vehicle charging to this as well, it might not even be us who does it, but someone needs to sort of take into account how that gets added in, and whether the installation can cope. Incidentally, up there, that thing there which says sprinklers, it is actually a fire suppressant system. They've got sprinklers on the ground floor. I've never come across a domestic property with sprinklers on the ground floor before, and I'm rather hoping that in my shenanigans I don't accidentally set them off. I'm not quite sure how they're set off, but yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Wet underfloor heating everywhere and sprinklers. So yeah, interesting stuff. Quite an interesting site. A lot more for us to do here. We've only got one, because we didn't know what we were doing here. Sam booked us in, so we're starting some work. Can you come and do the electrics? Obviously today here we've had to familiarise ourselves with what's where. We've had to do some testing. We found a few problems. We have made a start on moves and changes, so we'll go and look at that before we clock off later on. We've already moved some sockets and switches around, opened up some wiring routes, decommissioned some stuff that was in Sam's way. But we need him to open up some more of the routes, build some stud wall, that sort of stuff before we can come back. So we'll probably come back next week sometime, in which case, you know, maybe we'll film more, or maybe we'll film something towards the end. So this is part one of X amount of parts, perhaps, this video, but just thought it would be an interesting one to quickly capture today while we were here. Probably hasn't been very interesting, as we haven't really done much except for suck air through teeth and show Nigel's bum crack on camera again. So never mind. Anyway, I can probably switch all that back on now. Actually, Nigel's working on one of those circuits. I ought to check really, shouldn't I, before switching them on. Fuck me, it's tempting.
I assume that test was calibrated for 32 amp.
This thing here?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is calibrated for 1.1 ohm. Which is what you expect from a B32. Obviously it's telling us to check it. We know our ring's broken and we've got effectively 2 radials here, so see what sort of number we're getting. And the magic number is 1.57. So unless we find the cause of this ring break, we'll have to leave it at 20 amp anyway for the impedance to comply.
Yeah,
But that's okay.
I agree.
It's bedrooms, isn't it? Unless they start plugging in electric radiators, and they shouldn't need to, with all this fucking underfloor heating going on. And 20 amps ought to be enough for anybody. Nice day out there. Like the barbecue.
Yeah, just nice out there, isn't it?
How'd it work, Marsh?
I am.
See, Nigel's run out of steam for today.
I am.
One switch moved. We can bastardise the ceiling as much as we want because Sam's going to be putting up some acoustic boarding. So all sorts of holes going to get chopped in this. Some modifications to sockets, switches. We've got to reroute these car axes, which is going to be a bit of a pain in the arse. But there's going to be a doorway cut out on the wall there, so once the boys have got this flooring up and open that wall a bit, we'll get them rerouted. This is such a pain in the arse to work on this place because of these mad floors where you've got the multi-layers. So we've got to route everything from above, which is okay through the truss joists. If you're going that way, that becomes a bit of a pain in the arse when you start hitting steel, such as there is across there. So still some unanswered questions about how we're going to do this one. We can't do much here at the moment, so we've got to wait for the lads to come and build a stud wall. And yeah, we'll come back next week and hopefully there'll be some structure there that we can work with. See that? September the 11th. Want to see some spookiness?
Go on in.
This vehicle has a WTC registration plate. What do you think about that?
I don't know what I think about it because I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
It's actually rather hot, is it not? I might even fire up the old Barbie tonight. Yeah, interesting sight that, Nige, don't you agree?
I do agree.
So, I don't know, I might...
It's another one of those newish ones that Sam's got. Rip the new stuff out to put even newer stuff in. Whoa!
Fucking knobs. Cheers.
Nice one! I've been chasing that down the right.
So I'll leave him to shut that fucking thing.
Can't get the help.
Fuck's sake.
Go on, you clear, you're right.
That's us driving off with our fucking side door open. Again, not the first time we've done
It's
that.
not the first time, yeah, that's for sure.
Right. Yes, that's the second site we've been on with Sam where it's quite a new site. And we're ripping out an awful lot of stuff that looks all very shiny and looks like it really ought not to be ripped out. The other site, as I said earlier, we haven't got round to uploading yet. We've got a couple of hours of footage that some asshole needs to edit through, and I don't know if I'll ever face it, to be honest. We shall see. This one I might just chuck out without too much editing tonight. So apologies if it's a bit warts and all, because we haven't put a lot of thought into it. And we haven't been able to film everything we perhaps wanted to. And the audio's been cacked because my very expensive wireless microphones aren't working properly. So I've got to go and fucking moan on Amazon about that now. Still, never mind. We'll come back when they've confirmed they've taken up some of the floor and knocked holes in walls and built some stud work for us, which will hopefully be next week. You got anything to add, Nigel?
No, I'm too knackered. I'm ready for out. Yeah, I've got something to add. I really don't think I look like Frankie Boy. I'm not ginger, and I admit I need a haircut.
You know, people can say that we look like fucking Richie and Eddie from Bottom as well.
I don't know, I think you act a bit like
But I'm sure Eddie was the alcoholic one.
Eddie.
So.
Yes, so you'd be Eddie.
Yeah, no. Well.
I'd be, oh God, I'd be Richie.
That's it for today's video. Apologies, all a bit off the cuff. Hadn't put a lot of thought into it. Nigel and I will be at Alex next week, probably on a Thursday, I think. But I think there's a few people going there, so maybe we'll see you there. Have a nice evening. No, that's it. Seriously, there's nothing else to say.